What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? Just wanted to talk about the YouTube CEO because he has went ahead and done an interview where he's talking about the state of YouTube and talking about AI and the backlash that he's gotten because of it. So I figured it would be a pretty interesting topic. What's up, Big Boss? How you doing? What's up, Sheepdog? Good to see everybody. How are you guys doing? Thanks for taking the time out of your days to be here. And yeah, just want to go ahead and react to Neal's interview, see what he has to say. It's probably going to be same old, kind of dodging questions, dodging, not really taking too much responsibility, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. What's up, Chrissy, TK, Taryn? How are you guys doing? Sorry if I missed some of you guys' messages. Appreciate everybody for being here. Like I said, thanks for taking the time out of your days. We'll get started here in just 1 second. All right, what's up, Dragon Lover? What's up, General Purple? All right, so this interview was released today, actually, 15 hours ago. So I figured let's go ahead and check it out together. See how it goes. Appreciate that, Confident Noob. All right, let me know how the audio is, guys. Let me know if it's too loud, too quiet.
I was looking at all these guides that there are to sort of get your things to do well on YouTube. Like, what are the hooks? How you can get the algorithm to like you and amplify you?
Are you adopting any of them?
Just right? Okay, good.
Not yet.
So yeah, this interview happened just today.
I'm Lulu Garcia Navarro, and today I'm in Silicon Valley to speak with YouTube CEO Neal Mohan. YouTube is a juggernaut.
So a couple weeks ago, I clicked on this video.
This is a bird feeder.
The platform is winning the streaming war with Netflix. It's made creators like Mr. Beast and Miss Rachel into huge stars, and it's owning the video podcast space.
Hey there, welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
Add to that its growing distribution business with YouTube TV and the deals with both the NFL and the Oscars. And it's clear YouTube,
I think that's just you,
by
Parent. Is anybody else seeing a black screen? And everything looks good on my end.
Google has few, if any, peers, which is why I wanted to sit down with
That's a problem. YouTube needs some competition.
Mohan has been in charge of YouTube since 2023 and has overseen its rapid growth. But that hasn't come without controversy.
Coin collecting.
Just this week, a jury in California...
Yeah, I was going to talk about this. I know some people wanted me to make a video about this, but I think I'm a little late on it. Basically, Meta and YouTube they lost a court case where this woman claimed that their platforms caused her to get addicted to them, and they had to pay her like $3 million or something like that, which obviously is nothing to them. But it's kind of an issue, though, because by winning that court case, I'm sure governments are going to use that court case and be like, see, social media is addictive. We need age verification everywhere. You know what I mean? So even though I'm happy that these two companies got sued, it does seem like it could have some negative effects.
The company
I'm good, C-Light. How are you doing?
Alongside Meta for harming a teenager's mental health through their addictive features.
And the jury said that YouTube, Google, failed to operate YouTube in a reasonable fashion.
That verdict, which YouTube told us
you guys agree? Yeah.
Came down after Mohan and I talked, but we still had a lengthy discussion about YouTube's impact on children and us all. Here's my conversation with YouTube CEO Neal Mohan. I am very excited to be here today at YouTube. I wanted to start with a statistic. Mr. Beast, of course, the biggest content creator on YouTube, said that humanity now spends 2% of its waking hours on YouTube. I mean, is the goal to make it 3%?
So I know Jimmy very well. He and I have not done that math together, so I don't think I can validate his math or not. I think our goal, I mean, look, we measure ourselves by this concept of whether viewers, all of us, the 2 billion people that come to YouTube every single day, are satisfied by their experience on YouTube.
No way that's true. How many people use YouTube a day? There's no way there's 2 billion people on YouTube a day. That's true. That's crazy. 100. Okay, yeah. There's no way there's 2 billion people that use YouTube every day. I don't know. That's crazy.
And so that is how we orient decisions around the product or the business. And we have grown. We're the number one streamer, I think, for 3 years running now in the U.S. On television screens. We're an incredibly large podcast platform. This
Starting
conversation,
off with straight up BS.
I will watch on YouTube. And so yeah, that's definitely been part of the journey. I'm incredibly proud of it.
Really,
in
TK?
terms of making some long-term bets that have really paid off for YouTube, but also for our viewers and our creators.
I mean, not to be too meta about this, but in fact,
I see what you did there. Too meta.
Obviously, this is going to go on YouTube. We've got cameras and lights here, and what used to be an audio podcast is
Blitz,
now a video.
they will discuss AI in this interview. That's kind of why I wanted to do a stream on it.
Podcast, and part of that reason is because this is the way to gain new audiences, to reach people, because everyone seems to be on the platform now. And what is it that you think makes shows grow and gains an audience? I mean, how do I make this a hit? Other than like maybe taking a chair and bashing you over the head. We might get there in a bit.
We'll see. When I get asked this question,
What up, James?
I think it's, in my view, very, very simple. And it has to do really with how YouTube works, which is the people that are on the other side of the camera, other side of the screen rather, that are watching you on a television screen or on their mobile phones when they're watching this conversation, or even on their desktops or what have you. The one thing they can suss out really, really quickly is if it's like truly authentic. And I really do think that if you go and actually spend a minute
Neal, I don't know. Authenticity in YouTube, I don't know. Maybe 10 years ago, but right now it's just full of AI.
Thinking about any creator's channel, that is really what comes through for the really successful creators.
I want to talk about your competition because you mentioned podcasts. You recently, though, have had several major podcasters leave YouTube for Netflix. Shows like The Breakfast Club, My Favorite Murder. Are you worried that your biggest stars are going to be signed away to places like Netflix? And we're also, by the way, of course, seeing Meta just announced this week that they were interested in luring some of your creators away. Apple is now talking about, obviously.
If you guys don't know what she's talking about with Meta, they announced, I made a tweet about it. Let's see if I can find it. But they announced that they are going to be paying YouTube or anybody with any type of following. If you have over 100K followers, they will pay you $1,000 a month just to upload on Facebook. And if you have over 1 million followers on a platform, they'll pay you $3,000 a month on top of the ad revenue that you'll get from Facebook. So they were definitely trying to, yeah, there you go. Here it is. Facebook is launching a creator program paying $1,000 to $3,000 per month for creators to switch platforms. And it's not exclusive. Like the wording of this from Dexerto is wrong. They got this wrong. You don't have to switch platforms. You can upload on YouTube and Facebook. Now, that sounds tempting, but, obviously the issue is that Meta fucking sucks, and they are the ones who have lobbied for all this age verification crap all around the world. So, I mean, it's a tempting offer, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. Meta is full of crap. I mean, I'm sure some YouTubers will still do it, though, and I don't blame them for doing it because obviously you got to pay your bills. So, yeah, but I don't know. I hate Meta.
To the video
What's up, Taco?
podcast business more aggressively. I mean, they're taking the things that you built and they're saying, come over here. The water's warm.
Yeah. You know what? I'd say a couple of things about that. So first, it is flattering that they see us as sort of the center of culture, especially in terms of what these amazing creators have been able to do on YouTube. But the real sort of conversation when I speak to our creators, and I speak to our creators
What's up, Jacob?
several times a week, of all sizes, really, up-and-coming creators, some of the very large ones that you've mentioned, what they always tell me is that no matter what they look to do, they understand that YouTube is their home. There would be no Beast Games if there wasn't Mr. Beast on YouTube. And Jimmy knows that, and he talks about that. And that is That's the way that I think about it. They tell me over and over that their most authentic, real audience is on YouTube. They know that is the font of a lot of their success off of YouTube. But if, as a result of their success on YouTube, they are also experiencing success in other places, whether it's working with a studio on a project, or whether it's writing a book, or coming up in the case of Mr. Beast with his chocolate bar, or what have you, then I think that's awesome. I have not come across YouTubers that have completely yanked their content off YouTube. I can't imagine why they would.
Most people wouldn't do that because there's no real competition to YouTube. Meta can try, like how we talked about in that tweet. Meta can try. They're not going to beat YouTube. And also, $1,000 minimum for somebody with 100K followers on YouTube. As long as you're not exclusively uploading YouTube Shorts, you can easily make more than $1,000 on YouTube. So pretty much.
They're in a position where they can.
You know
say
who else
no
talks to Mr. Beast after every toilet break? The H. What's up, Doko? Yeah, I don't know. Mr. Beast is kind of a funny guy because through my conversation with him, he seemed like a normal guy. But yeah, I don't know, Mr. Beast. I just don't agree with a lot of the decisions that he makes.
To that, right? They don't have to, because the nice thing about what they've built on YouTube is that there's other places that are so desperate to actually work with them that they'll acquiesce to what our YouTubers are ultimately know is the right decision for them in the long term, which is to never leave their home.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's an interesting consequence of the YouTube model, because in many ways you're an incubator. You know, you take, like you said, anyone who's got a camera and a dream, and they have a shot at getting an audience and connecting with them.
Yeah, they have a shot, but nowadays their shot is a lot lower compared to AI slop YouTube channels. I wish that point would be addressed. I know it will be addressed later in the interview, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because yes, if you do have a camera and a voice and whatever on YouTube, you have a chance, but let's be real here, your chance is a lot lower than it used to be.
But once
thank you for the $5, 19 kilometers. Appreciate it. Really hate how every time these CEOs get on news for their actions, I know what the exact song and dance is. Yeah, and you know, part of that is honestly on the interviewers, right? So a lot of times, you know, I get it in a way, right? Like they probably lay out like, hey, you can't like ask Neal certain questions, otherwise you won't be able to get the interview. But you know, they need to have somebody that will press these CEOs kind of hard. You don't have to be rude or whatever and insult them or whatever. But if I was interviewing Neal, I would be like, hey, Neal, I know you took over as CEO of YouTube, but how can you call this YouTube when it's just full of AI? I don't feel like it's really YouTube anymore. Can you comment on that? You know what I mean? Like they always give him such easy questions to, you know, bullshit with. And then if he was to start, you know, giving me a soliloquy where he gives me like a 30-page essay of how he still feels like it's YouTube, every now and then I would interject if I feel like he's bullshitting me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, hey, Neal, with all due respect, I think you're wrong on that one. I think that the authentic creator is dying. And I think it's being replaced with AI. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have, that's how I would do it. But, you know, obviously I'm irrelevant. Why would he do one with me?
To get to a certain level of success, it seems like all these other groups are sort of circling to take them away.
And they never leave because they know that their home is on YouTube.
I want to move to another part of your business that you are also really
Appreciate
dominating.
You, 19 kilometers.
YouTube TV is now
What's up, Mason?
bigger
Connor, my
than
boy,
many
what
of
up?
the cable operators. And since 2025, the main way that YouTube is now consumed in the US is on connected television. At the beginning of 2026, you wrote, YouTube is the new TV because creators are the new prime time. I think one of the things that has Hollywood
YouTube has dominated
nervous
TV now.
is that it's a question of quality too.
I read some statistics and YouTube, like people are watching YouTube on their TV more than actual television.
You know, prestige TV, something that's hard and
Yeah,
costly
sorry,
to
I did
make.
get shut down.
YouTube
That's
is
okay, Taco, I
mostly
appreciate
not
it.
that. I was looking at all these guides that there are to sort of get your things to
What's up, Dexter?
do well on YouTube. Like, what are the hooks? How are you
What's
can
up,
get the
Wallpaper
algorithm
Games?
to like you and amplify you?
Are you adopting any of them?
Not yet.
That's kind
you
of like
know-
a whole other thing that I've wanted to make a video topic on before. Like the fake YouTube gurus. I'm sure you guys have seen them out there. Like they make their YouTube videos where they're like, do this one simple trick to get 1 million views on YouTube. And it's just like, dude, do you really think anyone's gonna fall for that shit? I hate those videos.
So it's all about tapping into a lizard brain and not about maybe elevating things that have a narrative arc, that
You
have
hate those
character
videos,
development, that have
VHS one
complex
simple
moral
trick to get to
decision
my heart.
making.
Yeah, talk
I'm
to you
just
about
wondering-
Yu-Gi-Oh, Connor. That's how I get to your heart. I've been watching more OG Yu-Gi-Oh too, Connor, just reminiscing.
Are we losing something
I thought Roblox
with the
or
dominance
CEO was
of
bad enough. YouTube might have the worst
the
CEO.
kind-
You know what? I'm gonna disagree with you on that. No, I think Roblox's CEO is way worse than YouTube's. Neal Mohan, in my opinion, is a bad CEO, but David Baszucki, the Roblox CEO, that guy fucking is awful. He's the worst because that dude literally has actual, I mean, I know YouTube probably does too, but Roblox is rampant with predators and it just feels like they don't give a shit. So in my eyes, he's way worse.
the creator economy that YouTube specializes
David literally
in?
called predators an opportunity. Exactly. I mean, obviously we're arguing between doo-doo and doo-doo, like they both, suck. But yeah, no, Neil's not as bad as fucking David Baszucki, dude.
I think this is a conversation that I do think the industry likes to have. And it's oftentimes the industry just sort of talking to itself, to be honest. And I think it's presumptuous for us
Discord
to...
CEO interview when? Ooh, that's a good. I don't even know who Discord CEO is. Discord CEO. Yeah, I'm not even gonna give that a shot. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher that. Yeah, he should do an interview. That'd be interesting. I would watch that.
judge or tell people what is high quality or low quality or prestige or not.
What is your browser? I
the
use
end of the day-
Firefox in my normal day to day, but I use Brave for streaming.
2 billion people come to YouTube. Families, parents, young people, college kids, older adults, and they find what they love. And there's every type of creator and every type of genre because it is a reflection of humanity. We have incredible creators that are producing amazing scripted content in Hollywood, like Alan Chicken Chow or Kanigra Dion, who have built sound stages to produce content that engages people.
That was another thing I never understood about YouTube and YouTubers is a lot. Thank you, Zay. I appreciate that, dude. Is they always go to Hollywood and then they're surprised that their audience doesn't follow them there. Newsflash, the reason why people watch you on YouTube is because that's a place where you can turn on a camera and be normal, right? When you go to a Hollywood production, now we feel like we don't even know you anymore because now you're doing all this scripted content with all these producers and you know what I mean? You guys agree with that? I don't know. I would rather just watch a YouTube video of my YouTuber because it feels more personal.
Who have
feels more
built
genuine.
sound stages to produce content.
Well, unless you're
that
Mark.
engage-
No, even Mark. Markiplier's stuff, like that he does outside of YouTube, obviously people would still rather see him on YouTube, right? Anybody, right? Anybody who goes to a different type of media, people still prefer their YouTube videos because it's just more authentic.
engages people in incredibly, I would put that up against any sort of quote unquote sort of prestige content out there. I would put Miss Rachel or Mark Rober or Cleo Abram against any sort of quote unquote traditional sort of produced content. And the great thing about it is that when the next Miss Rachel or the next Mark Rober comes along, who's even more is creative in a different way, they get a shot at it as well. As opposed to someone in sort of traditional sort of media saying, actually, no, I don't think your idea is a good one or it's low quality, quote unquote. Who are we to say that?
So content creators are king, but you are moving into the traditional purview of the networks. You secured exclusive broadcasting rights for events like the Oscars starting in 2029 and currently some NFL games. I've seen, of course, predictions that this is going to be the death knell for cable and broadcast television because these are such big tentpole events.
Cable's kind of been dying,
I mean-
online, like internet entertainment has been beating actual TV for, I would say, a long time now,
What is the strategy here? Is it to sort of pick out the biggest events from traditional broadcast television? I mean, is the Super Bowl next and bring it to YouTube?
Well, I mean, I guess the first thing that I would say is...
Yeah, exactly, Kyle. And I promise you, I don't know much about McJuggernuggets. I haven't watched a lot of his content, but I promise you, if he does go to Hollywood and do some show, his show in Hollywood is not going to do as well as he did on YouTube. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just how I see it.
But from a consumer standpoint, a viewer standpoint, especially a younger viewer, their expectation is that when they turn on the TV, that all of what they want to watch and engage with is in the same experience. And so that is everything from a 15-second short. By the way, shorts are, lots of people watch them on televisions, to a 15-minute sort of classic YouTube sort of VOD
I hate YouTube shorts,
video, to 3-hour podcast, 1-hour podcast, through a 3-hour NFL game, or a 15-hour live stream, because we have lots of streamers on our platform. And the expectation is that all of that is a seamless experience that they can get through their recommendations on YouTube. And so that's the consumer lens through which we have looked at it. And we made that bet for three reasons. One is, could we expand the market by making it easy for fans to actually find football games, whether it was a live game, but our biggest relationship is actually Sunday Ticket, which is a subscription service. And the second was, could we bring technological innovation to it? So, multi-view, being able to watch, which people take for granted now, was one of the core innovations we brought to the NFL experience. Creator integrations, right? We did this new concept that was, we call it Creator Watch Withs, which is basically the live stream. I mean, the live game, like our Brazil game, which was the one of the season openers
fact that they're
last
going to be
year,
working with FIFA,
but watch
the
alongside
NFL,
your
the
favorite
Oscars.
creator. And so those are the types of things
YouTube is going to
that
be
we
running
talk
the
about
world,
with the NFL.
dude.
So when the commissioner and I have a meeting with our teams, that's really what our focus is. I have an 18-year-old son. He's a sports nut. He watches lots of live sports, but his sports highlights are his YouTube feed. And the NFL understood that. And so that led to the partnership that we have. And so that's how, and the Oscars actually was a similar type of conversation with the Academy.
Since you mentioned the Oscars, did you see Conan O'Brien's skit this year where he sort of poked fun at YouTube?
I did, yeah. He had two YouTube jokes,
He
actually.
did. What'd you think?
I think Conan is very funny, and he's actually a YouTuber. He's been on YouTube for a very long time. His Team Coco channel does really well on YouTube.
Do you think the broadcast networks that had traditionally been the home of these franchises become like the dodo? Because, I mean, those are the biggest drivers also for them. And you taking that away, I mean, kind of what's left?
Well, what's interesting about those partners is they're obviously, as I said, some of our largest, most strategic partners because of YouTube TV, but they are also large partners in the classic sense of being creators on YouTube. Whether they're
I think, this is going to be the return of tinfoil deep humor here. I think that to get to that level, to be the CEO of these massive companies, not in a literal sense, but I feel like symbolically you kind of have to sell your soul along the way. You know what I mean? You got to do stuff that you don't morally agree with, but you do it because it's best for business. And I never want to be that type of person. Also, how would I be the CEO? I'm literally nobody.
Largest news partners on YouTube are like Fox News, right? They're very large on our platform. Just like the New York Times has a very large presence on YouTube, and the Wall Street Journal, or a lot of the entertainment networks. Disney is one of our strategic partners. They have a big investment and presence on YouTube, and so we work closely with them every single day. They understand sort of what's happening in the ecosystem, and I think they also understand that
YouTube actually made more ad revenue than Disney did
their
last
IP,
year.
their franchises, the amount of creativity that comes out of their studios
crazy.
is happening on YouTube. So they really tap into that. And
Thank you, Jelly. Appreciate that.
So we've been talking obviously about the power of video today, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I understand that you are a big reader. And one of the other big concerns that I hear about this world that we're entering and living in now and sort of embarking on with AI is that, there are studies showing that all our video consumption has ushered in this age of post-literacy. That Gen Z now overwhelmingly prefers to consume visual content on YouTube as opposed to traditional media. And that has tracked with a sort of more pronounced drop in reading levels, attention spans. What do you think about...
Okay, this is actually an interesting question. So she's relating the fact that, when people are on social media, you know, like their attention span sometimes drop and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to see how he's going to answer this question.
YouTube's role in changing the way that we think and our brains.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that, and I presumably...
Before he answers that, right? I mean, it really just depends on the type of content you watch. If you watch dog shit, brain rot content on YouTube, then I assume that would have a pretty negative impact on your brain. But there's plenty of content you can watch on YouTube that is actually mentally stimulating, and you can walk away from it and actually learning things. You know what I mean? So I feel like it really just depends on what you watch.
You're talking about young people.
What's up, Darby?
Young people.
And people, you know,
My
kids'
brain too,
development.
though, but yeah.
But you know, certainly where the responsibility are for all of us is very high, which is young people and children. You know, I have 3 kids of my own, so as a parent, as a dad, I think about their development and, you know, both challenges and opportunities every single day. Like, I can say unequivocally, you know, I encourage my kids to go run around and touch grass, and, you know, for our youngest, be on the swing set or play basketball with my son,
it's funny
and
that
all
he
of
said
those
touch
types
grass.
of things. I encourage that. I encourage them to read as much as they possibly can. You know, I love to read, but I encourage my wife and I encourage our kids to do that as well. And on YouTube, what I find is there's content, as we've described, that young people find entertaining, and they learn new things on a regular basis.
I mean, do you think it matters that they're learning things? And this isn't a gotcha. This is actually, I'm just genuinely curious. Do you think it matters that they're learning things through video and that is just sort of changing the way that they absorb information, or it doesn't?
I think
I
that,
agree, Connor. It sounds like she's trying to suggest brain rot, but she doesn't want to say it for some reason. Thank you for the $2 Bite Deity. Plot twist: his wife and kids are AI. Unfortunately, I think we're getting to a time where that might be the case soon for some people. Appreciate you, Bite.
Video, just like reading, is an important way for people to learn. When you say the term video, it's
Don't worry
like
about the donations,
learning
guys.
visually.
Just
Right.
watch
And
the
I
stream.
see
I
that,
appreciate you guys.
you know, just like back in the day, we learned in the classroom visually from our teachers. I do see a lot of that learning happening on YouTube, and actually teachers tell me that all the time too. Like, it's
And I want to say
one of
my
the most-
daughter's dyslexic, and YouTube is a huge part of her life. She learns visually, and it's been a godsend
I've learned so
for
many
her
things
for
from
all sorts
YouTube,
of different
but again,
reasons.
like I said, it just depends on the
this
type
isn't
of
to say
content
that
you watch.
this is necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing.
Yeah, I think that it is. I think about it more in the analogy of like a library, and it's a visual library, but it's a library that has lots and lots and lots of books in it, and the way that information or knowledge is communicated, or new ways of thinking is communicated, is visual, audio visual, and I do think that is an effective way for
I
people
agree.
to
I agree
learn,
with what
but I
Connor
think
just
it's
said in the chat right there, guys. And the problem is, you know, that's why a lot of these interviews are pretty, I would say, ineffective at making Neal seem relatable to, you know, his audience, right? If he actually did an interview where he addressed real people asking real questions, I promise you people would like him way more. But it's the fact that a lot of these interviews he gets these softball ass questions that he can just easily navigate around. That's why it feels like there's a disconnect between him and us.
only way. Of course not.
I want to ask you about a lawsuit that's happening where you're currently, along with Meta, being sued by a young woman who says YouTube is addictive and harmful when she was a minor.
Addressing the lawsuit.
This is considered a landmark
By the way,
case.
this interview was filmed before the ruling of the lawsuit. I believe she said that at the beginning of the video.
Here in California. Do you feel responsibility to remedy the harm for that if your site is addictive to people?
And I shouldn't comment on that specific trial, of course, as you can understand. What I will say about, again, and I think I was alluding to some of these things in my earlier answers, the way I think about it is, as you point out, as we were just talking about, you know, YouTube is this platform where people go for many different reasons to, you know, blow off steam, listen to their favorite artists, you know, whatever, Billie Eilish or Taylor Swift or what have you, to connect with community. That's a lot of what happens on YouTube, and then learn things. And so I think the mental model for me is we should be thinking about protecting young people in the digital world as opposed to protecting them from the digital world. And like the best analogy I can think about there is, you know, teaching my daughter to ride a bike. Like it starts with training wheels and you take off the training wheels and then eventually like she can kind of go and ride her bike.
I think
got
I think
kids,
a
you
good
know-
strong point that he could have made there, which I don't think he wants to, because a lot of these companies are afraid of the governments or whatever, they're actually working with the governments, is he could have mentioned age verification there, right? Like, for example, YouTube made a statement against Australia's social media ban. I'm sure you guys probably know that. I made a video about it. So YouTube actually made an official statement against Australia's social media ban saying, by not allowing kids on YouTube to make accounts, you guys are actually harming our ability to protect the kids on the platform. That would have been a good point to bring up, you know, to say, that's why we don't want to have age verification on YouTube, because, you know, obviously we can protect them a lot better with our parental controls, but then YouTube ended up rolling out global age verification anyways, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
That it's impossible. It's impossible to put guardrails on
Thank you, Arby's.
kids with devices. It's so hard.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, which is I feel like because of that sort of principle of making sure that we're protecting young people in the digital world as opposed to shutting them off from it, because I also think it's wrong, frankly, to eliminate that knowledge, that library of content, because there's amazing, wonderful content that parents tell me about every single day, just like the experience that you just shared about your daughter. I have that certainly in my household. So, well, then how do you approach it? Well, the way I think you approach it is
You think I could probably get to 300K subs this year? I don't know. That would be tough. But I think we can do it by the end of this live stream, guys. 300,000 subscribers right now. Let's go. I don't know. We'll see. But I appreciate everybody for being here.
make it so that what you can do around parental controls, as you described, or other types of things are actually truly practical.
It's funny you say that,
and
Felipe.
easy
I
to
don't even
use,
really consider myself
and that can
a news
actually
channel.
be enforceable. And that's
I
what
just
we can
talk about stuff I'm interested in. Do you have a YouTube plaque? Yeah, I do.
do, and that's what my wife and I try to do in our household. Like you said, we're not perfect by any stretch, but if there are things that we can do at YouTube to make that job easier for parents, I think that's the right approach.
You know, as a parent, which
Thank you,
again, I
Wallpaper.
know you are, it can often times feel like you're fighting against Silicon Valley. Like it's you trying to put some guardrails and some order in the household, and you are fighting against, you know, these giant corporations of which you are one. And it feels impossible. It feels for many parents like they just lose the battle.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm as parent of 3 myself. I think about this, how young people are growing up today. I think that there are amazing things that happened, that access to information, to knowledge that happened because of platforms like YouTube.
So the only thing and the issue with what he's saying here is he is, through his statement, basically saying he doesn't feel like there should be any type of age restriction on YouTube for kids, right? Like people shouldn't be banned from going on YouTube if they're younger, right? But the problem with that is how the hell, or why the hell rather, did you guys do global age verification across the platform then? It's contradictory to what you're saying. If you wanted to do it because some governments were forcing you to do it, then you should have done it in those specific regions, not the entire world. You know what I mean?
I also understand the challenges that you're describing. And so it's not to trivialize them in any sense, because I experienced them, and it is something that I personally care deeply about. It's personal to me. Our approach to it is, how can we bring all of that sort of those awesome experiences that you just described in the context of your daughter that I experienced with my own kids, but do it in a way where parents are in control. And that's what we work towards. And so, you know, we are a platform where we will build things like timers in the app. We announced actually a couple months ago now the ability for parents to actually have a timer on short form video feeds, right? To set it to 0. That's industry leading. That has not been done before, but that's the way that we make decisions here in terms of putting that responsibility first and foremost and kind of then letting the chips fall where they may.
I do want to talk about content moderation because as YouTube has become bigger
Interesting
and bigger
subject.
and takes up more of the culture and of people's engagement and the way they get information, the responsibility becomes, I think, greater. Do you feel that responsibility in terms of how things have shifted for YouTube? And
I was
just
hoping she would
having
mention AI moderation, but again, maybe she's not allowed to ask that question.
a lot more time spent on the site?
Every single day. It is
What's up,
my
Hungry
top
Slug?
priority in many ways. And I often say that,
If it's your top priority, buddy, you might want to watch a few of the videos that I've made. I've talked about how there's quite a lot of YouTube videos that need to be banned and removed. And some of them have still been around for a very, very long time. So, yeah, especially AI slop channels.
YouTube is a reflection of what's happening in the world, but what happens on YouTube also impacts the world. And that, from my standpoint, is the motivation behind the responsibility. There's 2 billion people that come to YouTube every single day. We do have a responsibility.
Second time he
We are
said
a
that.
platform.
There's no way that is true. I think he's messing it up. I would believe 2 billion people come to YouTube every month, but every day? No, there's no way.
That prides itself on being an open platform without a gatekeeper. We stand for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but we've had community guidelines on our platform since the day YouTube started. And living up to that responsibility is a big part of what happens around here, literally every single day.
Yeah, I mean, starting in 2020, you deplatformed a number of YouTube accounts for spreading lies. You've replatformed many of them, most notably Donald Trump. After January 6th, 2021, you had suspended Donald Trump's account, and we should note that YouTube wasn't alone in that. Many other platforms did the same.
And by the way, that I'm pretty sure that happened before Neal was the CEO. I think he took over in 2023, if I remember correctly.
Trump then sued, accusing you of censorship, and you reinstated his account in 2023. And then Google, your parent company, agreed to pay nearly $25 million to settle the case last year without admitting liability. Were you wrong to ban him in the first place?
I think I'm trying to think back to the policies.
It's estimated that 6 billion people access the internet every day. Bullshit. I totally disagree with that. There's no way that's true. How many people use the internet a day? There is absolutely no way it's 6 billion. What? That is fucking crazy. That is just so unbelievable to me. 6 billion people use the internet a day? I don't know why. That just doesn't sound right because, you know, there's obviously a lot of people out there that don't have access to the internet. Where are they getting these statistics from? I mean, hey, all right, Connor, you were right. That just sounds so crazy to me. Every day? Wait, hold on. Is that what that says? No, that's not what that says. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, it does not say that 6 billion people use the internet every day. It says that is worldwide usage in general. There is no fucking way 6 billion people use the internet every single day. Cap. I call bullshit on that one. Okay, hold on. Never mind, you're wrong. That is some bullshit. There's absolutely no way. I will die on this hill. At first I misread it. It says 6 billion people use the internet in general, but not a day. Do you know how many? That's fucking crazy, dude. There's no way. Oh my God. I was about to hop out of my chair here if that was true, because that would have just mind fucked me. There's no way. Whew. Okay. Damn. My brain is smooth as hell. I misread that.
That were, I think, in place back then. Many of those, I think, are not in place today. You know, we have, because of a lot of what we talked about here and the scale of YouTube and what it represents in culture and society, we have a long track record of working with administrations, really on both sides of the aisle, and we make our decisions based on what we believe at the moment to be right for the creator ecosystem that we spent the bulk of the time talking about here. And we strive to...
Globally, internet access is widespread with over 5 billion users likely active daily. Where are you getting that statistic from? Let me actually search up that quote. Looking up your exact quote, it says, as of October 2024, there are 5 billion internet users worldwide. Does not say daily. That is cap, guys. Think about it logically for a second. 6 billion people on the internet are not using the internet in a day, in one day. It means in general, generally speaking, there's 6 billion people using the internet worldwide. A day? Come on, guys. There's no fucking way. And no, also, for the record, 2 billion people are not using YouTube every day. Worldwide is not the same. Hey, thank you, Z-Time. Thank you. We're having a reading comprehension issue here, guys. Worldwide usage is not the same as using it in the same day. There's no fucking way. It's okay, though. You know, obviously, I made that misconception, too. I'm stupid. But 2 billion, okay, let's, again, just to clarify, let's look that up. How many people use YouTube in a day? We already looked this up earlier, I believe, in the stream. 122 million. That is not fucking 2 billion.
Write our community guidelines in a way.
You guys are taking advantage of my stupidity. How dare you guys?
Best as we possibly can. We strive to be truly as much of an open platform as we can.
Was it the wrong decision?
Where the fuck did you get that number? Probably the same place where you guys got that number, because that's definitely a misconception. There are not 6 billion people that use the internet in a day. So maybe maybe Neal misread some statistics or something, but that is fucking bullshit. There's no way.
Time to ban, former president?
I think that, it's hard to look at all of these decisions out of context. You think about, you said even back to 2020, some of the examples that you were describing there, we were...
What's up, Arthur?
Embarking on this pandemic that was going to shut down the world, like science was being created every single day. Did we reverse those policies? Yeah, we changed a lot of those policies, because I think that while the principles of, freedom of expression, free speech, remain sort of North Star kind of immovable principles, at least at YouTube, we also want to be flexible in terms of the context around policies. And what we, back to your question around the president's channel and what around January 6th,
What's up, Fallen Ninja?
I can't remember this very specific policy that was in place then, but that was during that particular time period. Fast forward, a lot of those policies, even before, independent of, the lawsuit or what have you, were deprecated policies. And so that's how we try to be flexible about the policies, but also be true to our principles about being an open platform. And so when I took over as CEO, one of the first decisions was to bring that channel back.
That was your decision?
That was ultimately my decision, yes.
The money, we should say, is being used to remodel the White House and pay for Trump's ballroom. Do you worry about the optics of that?
Again, like I was saying, we're very focused on...
Interesting that he admitted that it was his decision to bring Trump's channel back.
Our creators, what is the best for the ecosystem? We do work with all administrations. I think that what I would say is
There's a lot of discussion, as you know, about how powerful entities in corporate America are dealing with this administration now, and there will be questions when there are others, and that relationship. And I think it's a fair question. I think, I'm sure that you're more focused on your creators, but I think it's a fair question.
Question being, how do you
think about the optics of the money that you ended up paying to Donald Trump to settle the case being used on, his new ballroom?
I don't know the specifics of the ballroom or how it's being built. It is going towards a preservation trust, so I do think it's something that is going to be for the country. But I think the way, honestly, I think about it is sort of the way you framed it in the question, which is I think it's a way for us to settle on old policies. Most of them are actually not even in place today, and focus on the future of our.
He definitely dodged that one. So what she's asking him is, okay, the Trump administration sued you guys, YouTube, for, banning his channel and whatever. And then they used that money to build a ballroom in the White House because Trump wanted to. So she asked him, what do you think about that? Do you think that that's a waste of money or something? And then he fucking dodged that shit like he had Ultra Instinct, like Goku fucking Ultra Instincting against Jiren. Yeah, I don't know. He definitely dodged that one. I mean, he's been dodging a lot of questions, but specifically that one, I noticed he really weaved around that one.
Creators and the ecosystem, we make those policy decisions independent of administrations based on what we think is best for YouTube, and that is so hopefully something that we will continue to do.
Something I'm hearing from you, and I think it's very true, is that the culture has changed so much in terms of what is deemed misinformation, not deemed misinformation, and you have changed your policies along with that. And there's, a lot of reporting around what those changes are at YouTube, and I'm just sort of wondering how now something gets taken down, what exactly are the community guidelines that get breached? Is it the sort of amount of time someone's saying something, or the impact of what they're saying?
The way I think that it really breaks down into a few things that allows us to do what we do. And the first is, as I said, clarity around the principles. And the core principle here for, which is, again, goes back to the very early days of YouTube and has been consistent, which is we are an open platform and we stand for free speech. And that is a stance that we've taken, and we have gotten criticized on both sides of the aisle constantly. And I think that is, and I say this to my teams here, that is a result of the privileged position we're in. We are relevant to people's lives.
But there's a difference between unfettered free speech. We've seen free speech absolutists like Elon Musk and what X has become, and that's a version of free speech. Yeah,
fucking Twitter sucks now.
I'm trying to understand what your definition is.
So
ever since Twitter became X,
our principle,
Twitter is ass now, I'll be honest. The amount of fucking OnlyFans bots and all these random bots on, I mean, dude, I don't know. That's a whole different discussion, but X is dog shit now, man.
The way to answer your original question is it starts with the principles. We try to hold true to this.
Yeah, there are a lot of bots on
That
Twitter.
is core to how we do it. And so then the question is, well, how do you then write a set of community guidelines that reflect it to the best of our ability? And I always say that's...
Dude, if Elon Musk can do something as fucking weird as lie about playing a video game, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys haven't seen that video, but like Elon Musk literally lied about playing Path of Exile. What a weird thing to lie about. I'm sure you guys probably know about that controversy, but if you lie about little things, you're likely to lie about big things. And that's just a pattern you'll notice in life. If you're so weird to lie about playing a fucking video game and you want everyone to think you're really good at the video game, it's like, it just makes you look like a weirdo, And that is reflected on how Elon has turned Twitter into a shithole. But that's just my opinion.
The hard work, that's the job. And the best we can do there is to write them and to be transparent about them. And then the third part of it is to do our best to live up to what we actually published. And then we are going to get criticized on either sides of it, because people are not everyone is going to be happy about where that line is drawn. But
I guess I'm trying to understand where the line is drawn. Because, I mean, let's take and a couple of examples. If you think about Candace Owens, she has 5 million followers on your platform and growing. And right now she has a multi-part series on conspiracy theories around Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. She's also talked frequently about Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, being a man. There has been anti-Semitic content in the past. So explain to me how she's not violating YouTube's community guidelines.
Again, I'd have to look at a very specific video there. So it's hard to answer that question in sort of a generalized sense. And the decisions we make are video by video. And we're able to do that at scale because of our investment in our systems and the people that we have. And so I don't think I can answer that question in a general
Connor.
sense. What I will say is that we do have guidelines around hate speech or harassment. We have guidelines around making sure that kids are protected on the platform, around consumer fraud and those types of things. And each one of those guidelines, we try our best to actually publish them on our website. So I couldn't get into the details of every single one of those verticals and how it applies to an individual video, but I can speak in terms of the broad principles that in general, we try to allow for as the broadest spectrum of speech as
I agree,
possible.
Red Six.
Sometimes
I like Twitter
it
in
might be
general
speech
before
that
it
people
became
disagree
X.
with. You're describing one example. There's probably millions and millions of videos on YouTube that I disagree with, that you might disagree with, but don't have grounds for us to take down on the platform.
I don't know if it's disagreement. It's just a question of the fundamental questions, right? Or what are facts?
Mm-hmm.
What is truth? What is fair? And what is the responsibility of a platform like YouTube to elevate those things and not things that are unfair, untrue, and possibly damaging.
Yeah. We are an open platform, Lulu. Each one of the channels on our platform, the New York Times channel, the interview channel, you have the editorial standards that you live by on those channels, and they are certainly different across the various, not just genres, but channels within genres. And our job is to have a set of rules and guidelines. Those are our community guidelines.
Hey, thank
Every
you, Blue,
channel
for the 5
will draw
gifted.
a different line in
Shout out
terms
to
of
my guy Blue. How you been? How's work? It's tradition whenever Blue gifts memberships, we always got to spam the Blue emote. So if you're a member, everybody's got to put in their Blue emotes
what
in the
they
chat.
think is appropriate.
And the reason I'm focusing on this, and forgive me, it's because
I think these are important questions.
They are, thank you. And also it's just, I think they're important for,
I will give this interviewer a little bit of credit. She is pressing him a little harder than I've seen most people. She's really trying to get an answer out of him in certain questions. Other questions, she kind of just let him yap. But this specific topic, she seems like she really wants to make sure she gets an answer out of him.
Understanding of the world. I just saw one of your news creators, Tara Palmieri, who I know a little bit, who has now become a sort of independent creator on YouTube. And I saw, you have cited her as, someone trying to promote responsible journalism on the platform. And she just had a post on YouTube sort of lamenting the fact that she feels like she's fighting against an algorithm that deprioritizes that kind of reporting, that she's being, she is having to fight.
I didn't expect this interview to get this political.
The attention in a world where there's all sorts of other people pushing
I thought it was going to be
things
mostly
that might
about
be
the
more
YouTube platform
jazzy,
itself.
more interesting, but not true. And I guess, how do you promote responsible information?
I think the best way for YouTube to approach it, which is, how do you wrestle with this concept of an open platform, but also having some rules for the road in terms of how things operate on YouTube? For example, we never allowed adult content on YouTube, right? Like, how did we make that decision?
Mr. Neal, I have a playlist I would like for you to look at. It is called, where is it? The Weird Side of YouTube. I am afraid to open the playlist because I have opened this playlist before on a YouTube video and I got demonetized for some of the thumbnails, even though the thumbnails aren't that bad. But Mr. Neal, I highly recommend you check out that playlist, my friend, because there is quite a lot of nudity content on YouTube that has been there for years that has not been removed. So, yeah.
And what was important behind it, etc.
And also, how many NSFW ads have you guys seen? I don't know. Type a 1 in chat if you've seen an NSFW ad on YouTube. I'll let the chat speak for itself.
And again, our approach there is to be very clear about what sort of those baseline rules are. There are, as you know, pages and pages of them. And we really work hard to try to enforce them, and our enforcement is not always perfect. One of the verticals that we have on YouTube is news. We have lots and lots of successful news creators. Not every creator is serving the same audience or looking to do the same thing, so there's lots of people who are approaching it in different ways, and I think, honestly, that's...
Exactly, Z-Time. I have a problem when he will say that we're working really hard to enforce them, right? Because what did I just make a video about recently? I talked about a channel that made this video. Look at how many views they got in 19 hours. So not only does that mean that you guys didn't censor the NSFW content in the thumbnail, or even like the video wasn't even age restricted. They pushed it out actively, promoted it, put it on browse features and browse pages. Because 1.4 million views in 19 hours, dude, fucking Markiplier and PewDiePie will barely get numbers like that. I will prove it to you. What was that? What did that say? 1.4 million in 19 hours? Let's go look at some of Markiplier's recent videos. In 3 days, this video didn't even hit 1 million views. And obviously, I'm not dissing Markiplier. I'm just saying that amount of views to get in a short amount of time is super difficult. So that means that YouTube not only did not censor that video, but they actually promoted it. And that would be, if I was interviewing Neal, which again, I know I'm irrelevant, why would he do an interview with me? But that would be something I would point out. I would literally cut him off and say, you know, Neal, I know you say that you're focusing on getting rid of NSFW content on YouTube, but did you know that there was this video that was uploaded called Portrait Video Whatever that got 1.4 fucking million views in 19 hours? What are you talking about, Neal? Hey, thank you for the gifted on Twitch Blue. I appreciate it. And if you guys don't know, we're streaming on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/dpmyt. But anyways, yeah, people need to press Neal harder on those types of questions.
Also a really entrepreneurial ecosystem with...
That channel had like 10K sub stops. No, it had like 3K subs. I'm scared to look up their channel because they might have some NSFW thumbnail, but let me just show you. I remember their username. 3.4K subs. And they got 1.4 fucking million views in 19 hours. And by the way, that video ended up getting well over 2 million views. So yeah, and no, that case is not an anomaly. That type of thing has happened many times on YouTube.
Lots of new news creators that, you know, other folks might have different opinions on. It's not, I think we are not qualified to have a point of view on this particular creator. XYZ is better than this particular creator. The audience makes that judgment. I always say that, you know, the best way to think about the YouTube algorithm is to replace the word algorithm with audience. And that is because it is a reflection of the audience. That's the reason why creators who are successful...
That AI Fruit Love Island bullshit got like over 3 million views in about 9 days. Dude, exactly, Choco, exactly. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. They claim that they want to push out authentic content from real people. And then remember that fucking AI Love Island bullshit? Yeah, that if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Choco was talking about this thing, right? I don't know if the video got removed or something, but they made an AI fucking Love Island thing where fruits were making out, and that shit got millions of views in like a week. Crazy. That means they were pushing it out actively. Oh my god, man. Thank you for subbing on Twitch as well, Blue. Appreciate you. Shout out to my man Blue. Legend.
Platform have that notion of authenticity because what the quote-unquote algorithm is doing is
Blue, you've been subbed on Twitch for 11 months. Shout out to my guy, man.
To your behavior on YouTube.
I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I really appreciated it. We'll talk again.
Yeah, thank you.
I assume there's still more.
On the interview, we speak to our guest twice. So the next day I called Neal back and we spoke about AI.
Oh, okay. So we're getting into the AI part of the interview now. Okay, this will be good.
Yesterday,
of course.
And I'm back. Sitting down with me yesterday.
Of course.
And I was wondering if there was anything that you were thinking about after our last conversation before I ask you some other questions about your own sort of personal journey.
Yeah. You know, I appreciated the conversation, and I do really appreciate how much depth we got into. You know, as I was thinking about it on my way home in the evening, One of the things that struck me, I think, is a lot of the examples and a lot of the conversation was very U.S. focused, which
Hey,
makes
thank you for the is that five bits on Twitch, Fallen Ninja? Appreciate that, dude. I think that's bits. Thank you, man. I don't know much about Twitch, but appreciate you.
sense. We're based in the U.S. here, but one of the things that's super interesting, at least to me, about YouTube is that it's truly global. You could be a fan of this particular type of dance that might originate.
Thank you, nerdy.
In in Canada, but you might be living in southern India and vice versa, and those types of things. And that's also kind of a very interesting phenomenon that's happened as a result of YouTube. So that was sort of one thing that had occurred to me.
Yeah, in fact, I want to talk a little bit about AI in a minute. And one of the innovations that
Here we
you
go.
have enabled is using language now to be able to get creators who are in their native language, and you can see them in your native language. And so that, of course, opens up just everyone's content much, much more widely. I was watching a, Argentinian creator. I do speak Spanish, but it was amazing to see that all translated in real time in English, for people who might not speak the language. So
yeah, that's actually a perfect example, kind of an of the moment example for sure.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this global reach, because I was actually thinking about you and your journey. Your father moved to the U.S. With $25 in his pocket, as you've said before, from India to do his PhD in the United States. And then you grew up in the Midwest, which you have described as this sort of very typical 70s and 80s childhood, which, by the way, I remember too, watching Star Wars.
It's sad that, Neal, who apparently is someone with such humble beginnings, has kind of developed into someone who is valuing profit much more over customer satisfaction. Pretty unfortunate.
Going to the movie theater. And then at age 10, your family moved back to India. I wondered what helped you get through that shock of this one very specific kind of experience and then finding yourself in a completely different context.
So as you said, I was, grew up in Michigan, loved Star Wars and Transformers and all of that sort of good stuff. I was a big sports kid back then too. And when I moved to India, it was a bit of a culture shock, even though obviously my parents are of Indian heritage, but I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't read and write it. And, you fast forward through that experience, and I think, obviously I appreciate that experience deeply. And a lot of it, I think, you draw these sort of direct lines sometimes, or you sort of kind of justify in reverse, but I really do genuinely believe there's a direct line from that experience, because
When is she gonna
I
ask
saw
about AI?
a lot of sort of like commonalities between global culture, differences, and sort of that nuance. And I think that me becoming someone just a fan of kind of media and storytelling and everything from music to sports to ultimately Bollywood and Hollywood and the like, I think stemmed from the fact that that was the way that I connected, frankly, with different cultures and different people. And it was the way that I moved from being like an outsider to having friends.
In speaking to people who do know you, they do say that you have this very even temper, a very even-keeled. You don't let yourself get swept up in crises, which any CEO has to deal with. How do you apply that in terms of something difficult comes your way and you have to figure out how to navigate it as a leader?
It's funny, my wife jokes that I'm even-keeled Neal. That's sort of what she calls me. For the first thing,
More like we need an appeal, Neal.
To be
Since we're
very
doing
sort of
rhymes.
candid with you, I think by the time a decision gets
More like,
to me,
look at my
almost by
monetization appeal, Neal.
definition, it's a difficult decision because, and oftentimes it's a trade-off between two bad choices, right? Or two very difficult choices. Otherwise, that decision would be made, somewhere else in the organization. It wouldn't really need to come to me. And so what I try to do, to the best of my ability, and we talked a lot about this yesterday too, is I really do try to focus beforehand on the principles by which we will make those decisions. And I believe that Principles are particularly important in tough decisions that involve trade-offs. In terms of examples, I'll give you one that's a very YouTube-y kind of example that's sort of deep in the YouTube ecosystem.
Before he keeps rambling, do you guys understand how much credit YouTube would have gotten in comparison to other websites if they were like, you know what, guys, we're YouTube, we're not going to have AI on this platform? That one decision would have made everyone love YouTube so much. Everyone would be like, YouTube, you guys are the fucking real ones, dude. But hey, he chose money over potential customer satisfaction and respect. Hey, thank you for the 100 bits on Twitch, EBK TV. Appreciate you. How you doing, buddy?
Few years ago. So if you are watching a YouTube video, you'll notice
I just want to see what that search history is looking like. It's not looking good right now. It's a lot of the AI slop shit I've been having to look up.
that video,
and then Vegeta sneaks his way in here.
Dislike button, and you can tap that. Obviously, many people tap that after they watch a video, like, dislike, and we used to have a count.
Dislike, huh? Dislike, huh, Neil? Well, you guys kind of got rid of that one, so yeah.
To those buttons, the dislike button in particular, and a few years ago we removed it, and
boo.
That sounds like a
boo. Years later, everybody still hates that decision, Neil. Just want to let you know that.
A small thing, like just a number right below the video, but it was a really big thing in the YouTube ecosystem because it was part of the YouTube heritage, where YouTube started from. We were the platform that had a count across that, so your video had to stand up to scrutiny from this audience. And so lots of creators were...
Once again, and I've said this in many videos before, they claim the reason that they removed the dislike button was because videos were getting hate attacks from other content creators. Super simple solution. Just make it so somebody has to watch the first 3-4 minutes of the video before they have to dislike. That way they won't just immediately look up your video and dislike it. Simple. But obviously they would rather just remove it.
Very attached to it, particularly larger creators who, and some viewers were attached to it too, because it was like, that's a quick way to evaluate a video before you watch it. However, a few years ago, it was becoming clear that especially for smaller creators or perhaps marginalized creators, it was becoming something that could potentially get weaponized and used as a means to troll them or have a robot army kind of get at them.
What are the comments saying in this video? We'll read the comments right after the video's done.
Decision, and ultimately I made it to remove that count. It was positively received in many ways.
Did he say he made the decision? I mean, we kind of already know this is a decision, but...
Army kind of get at them. And so we made the difficult decision, and ultimately I made it to remove that count.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of already all knew that, but that's like the first time I've heard him admit that.
It was positively received in many ways, but it was extremely critically received in other ways. But I think having those principles allowed me to ultimately make that call that was in the YouTube world was a very consequential thing, even though it seems small.
I want to talk about what's here and what's coming. And we touched on AI already a little bit, but this is the huge conversation that everyone's having.
Here we go.
And you've declared war on AI slop, but you're also...
No, not really. He's literally the one who made the tools where they allow you to plop your face on on a YouTube short with your own likeness and make AI slop out of yourself. I mean, yes, he has banned a lot of AI slop channels, but at the same time, he's giving them tools to make more AI slop,
handing creators tools to use AI. And
yeah,
I'm just wondering how
she made that exact statement. Okay, actually, this is actually a good question.
But you're also handing creators tools to use AI. And I'm just wondering how you distinguish between what is a creative AI video that creators are using in a good way and AI slop.
Yeah, you're really getting at the heart of the matter. So this is, and I would say that, just to be very transparent, I don't think that this is a solved question by any means. And frankly, the rate at which AI is impacting all of our lives, the the ground beneath that question is changing on a weekly basis, if not even faster. So I want to be very upfront about that. But I have this very firm conviction that it will never replace human creativity. Again, back to one of the very first things.
It will if you guys keep pushing it to our home pages and drowning out real creators. Yes, real creators will still be making videos, but a lot of real creators might actually turn to making AI slop because they're going to be like, damn, if I want to get views, I just need to spam AI slop YouTube shorts and that's how I'll get views. So yes, the real creators will still exist, but they're going to be drowned out by all the AI crap. If I was interviewing him, that's what I would say.
We talked about yesterday, which is that notion of authenticity. People want to see, an artist on stage because they know something about her life story and they have some background.
Yeah, so think about the YouTube homepage as the stage. So why do you guys put the AI slop on the stage as opposed to the real content creator? I don't know,
in terms of why she wrote the lyrics that way and why she's performing it that way.
Yeah, me too, Red 6. But again, I'm irrelevant. Why would you ever do an interview with me? And two, I don't think I would be allowed to ask the questions that I would want to ask.
We've had AI possible to the point where computers can play chess, but for it to be interesting on YouTube, at least one of the contestants has to be a human. And so because of this notion of the human stories on YouTube, I absolutely cannot have it be overrun with AI slop. And what AI, of course, does is just like it can be a tool to produce amazing content or further democratize content creation so that another entirely new class of creators can come on board, like the first YouTubers 20 years ago.
Thanks, Black Panther.
It can also allow for the creation of lots of low quality content. And so that's where the AI slop question comes in. And there, I think there's aspects of it that are not new. The part that's new is the scale, but the notion of low quality content, clickbaity content, content that might be produced for monetization motives, but is not actually quality to a certain level. We've been able to deal with that on YouTube. And so
okay, let me show you something real quick, Neal, in live, real time, right? So you guys banned some of these channels that did exactly what you just said, low quality AI slop for the single purpose of money. I did a video and a stream recently, actually, right over here, where I showed a bunch of the AI slop channels in this report, and a lot of them are still up. So, you know what I mean? Like, if that's true and you want to go ahead and get rid of all these AI slop channels, this report went viral, by the way. Everybody was talking about this. Neal definitely knows about this report. Why is every single channel listed here not banned yet? Some of them are, but from last time I checked, most of them aren't. So yeah.
So I think, just like AI is powering some of that low quality content, it can also be used to
it's powering all of the low quality content.
Combat it on YouTube in terms of what we recommend or what have you. And then the last point that I'll make on this that I think is you alluded to as well is I also think that we have to have a bit of a delicate hand on this. And this is the part that's the unsolved part, because AI created content does not mean low quality content. Amazing content is produced by...
It pretty much always does, though. That's the problem, Neal. Pretty much, like, always, it's going to mean it's low quality content.
AI, just like technologies from the past, whether it's Photoshop or the drum machine, produced a new form of creativity. And I do think that's what's happening in the AI world. And so we can't have too many of those false positives where we're sort of killing the new form of creativity that's driven by these tools. And I would tell you that every day we're trying to really strike that balance, but we're very, very focused on making sure that... I wasn't
fucking with that background song.
When you open up the YouTube app, it's not a feed of AI slop.
Yeah, I mean, right now you have a small little stamp when AI has been used on something that is posted. Is that enough?
Yeah.
What she's referring to is in the channel's description, if someone uses AI in the video, they have to label it as some content in this channel has been what's called AI generated or whatever, right? But the problem is most of the AI slop channels, I would say like 95% of them, don't even mark their videos that way. So they should be banned by not doing that, but they don't get banned.
My personal view is that is sort of table stakes, but I do think that it's a place to start. And I think the other really big thing that I hear from when I speak to creators, public figures, journalists, etc., is being able to manage their likeness in this AI world. And that is, I think, something that is profoundly important in my view. And not just like the classic sort of deep fakes and all those types of things, of course, but also impersonation for, to trick a user or to steal someone's creative idea and things like that. And so those things I think are also important that will not get solved with an AI label, but need to have tools. And so one of the areas that we're very focused on is this notion of, we call it likeness detection. We've had a technology here at YouTube for a long time called Content ID. It was actually, in some sense, one of the very early uses of AI, almost a decade ago, if not longer. And it allows rights holders, artists, musicians, whether if you're Taylor Swift or what have you, to make a choice when your music is used or when a particular, movie character is used, to either take down that video or monetize that video. And it has created the ecosystem that exists on YouTube. So that principle of content
I mean,
ID,
that's kind of a whole different discussion, but YouTube's copyright system is awful.
we want to carry over to the AI world. The big picture question around like, well, if a video can do something XYZ, can review a technology product and can create, a fake reviewer to do that, or an AI-generated reviewer to do that, then who needs me? I really believe, and again, I could be naive on this, is what shines through on YouTube is that human connection, what that person stands for. Just like in your case, people understand what the interview means. They know how Lulu's going to approach it. And I don't think that is going to get swapped by, AI generated, take your pick, journalists, artists, musician. And that's that. I have seen nothing, despite all the rapid progress here, that would be contrary to what I said.
Can you promise me that there's not going to be a Lulu bot doing my job in 2 years?
I really,
there probably will. There probably will. I don't know.
I don't, and by the way, I'm also not naive to the point to say that there isn't going to be disruption. Like, there's a whole supply chain of creativity, and I do think and just like is happening in the software industry, there is going to be a change in the nature of the jobs, how those jobs are done, even who does them. So I don't want to trivialize that disruption. Of course, that happens with any big technology paradigm shift, and AI is not going to be different in that context. But to your core question of the replacement of that human creativity element and what people connect with on a service like YouTube, I just don't see AI generation replacing the humans that produce,
Again, not literally replacing, as in those humans will stop. Actually, no, it is kind of literally replacing them. But it's more so about, this is a crazy freeze frame, by the way. It's more so about the fact that AI content is drowning out the real content creators on YouTube. That's where the issue lies. Because, again, there are people out there that are going to be thinking, why would I make a video where I record myself if the video is going to get 0 views? Whereas if I make AI slop shorts, it gets 10,000 views in a day. So, and the answer to that is because YouTube is promoting AI mostly over real content creators, especially in the YouTube Shorts format. That's where the problem needs to be addressed.
On YouTube.
All right, I'm going to come back in 2 years, and if I'm still here, you'd be right. Yeah. I'll be holding you to that. All right, last question. One of the things that really struck me from everything we talked about is how you said that YouTube is really this reflection of humanity. And, you know, as we've mentioned, you have billions of users. You get a lot of information from all those users. And I'm just wondering what you've learned about humanity leading YouTube. What surprised you?
Oh, you know, I could reflect on this for a long time, but and hopefully you've got some sense of this. I tend to be an optimist, almost to the point of being naive about these things, Lulu. And what is a privilege for me on YouTube is that, you know, despite the challenges and, you know, despite the incredibly complicated world that we live in, what I love about what I see on YouTube is like the common humanity aspect, which is...
It's kind of ironic that he says that, because YouTube is full of more bots than ever before.
I was watching, you know, YouTube on my television set last night, and I was watching a YouTuber, lives in New York City, reviews restaurants. And, you know, the restaurant aspect of that was interesting, but the way that he talked about his life and how he anticipated going to have that meal and his experience after that meal, like, that's what I mean by the common humanity. And that shines through in YouTube. It's almost as if, like, if aliens discovered Earth, you know, what, 5,000 years from now, YouTube is that encapsulation of that. And on balance, I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it.
I mean, I think she could have done better pressing him on a lot of things he was saying, but I do have to give the interviewer a little bit of credit, especially around the middle there. She actually started pressing him pretty hard for an answer on some of those questions, which is good. But anyways, let's go read the comments. Not impressed with his lack of genuine answers. He's the opposite of those genuine YouTubers who the audience values. The trial they just lost was about the algorithm, not the content. Yes, the platform has some high value content, but they continue to push a predatory algorithm on users that promotes the lizard brain content. I agree with a lot of that. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that this wasn't very well received. Another fantastic interview. Ooh. Let's see what people are saying. Keeping your post sounds like a bot made it. It's incredibly disappointing that the comments on YouTube here are so different from the character from the thoughtful responses on the web interview. Huh? Mohan evades perhaps every single question. Oh yeah. I agree with that for sure. I think the CEO had a difficult time answering the question about Candace Owens. What a great interview yeah, he definitely did. He definitely, with that specific question, it looks like he was trying his best to beat around the bush on that one. Lulu missed a point saying, what about Candace Owens should not... No, okay. Elon is not a free speech absolutionist. He actively censors that he would disagree with him. I mean, he definitely ruined Twitter. I'll say that for sure. Not satisfied with my YouTube feed. It just bombards me with more of the same and doesn't allow me to choose what I want to see. Yeah, the YouTube feed has been showing me less and less of what I actually want to see. Neal's not going to give me an honest answer about the issue YouTube causes, issues for children, how it changes. I mean, I know people always say this though, but like a lot of this is on the parents. I'll be honest. I mean, you can't really blame the websites for like the children being addicted to social media. Be a fucking parent and take away the goddamn iPad. You know what I mean? Like that is one of the very rare things I will defend YouTube on. You can't blame YouTube for you getting addicted to YouTube. Be a fucking parent. Take away the phone from your children. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's some weak sauce, and Candace Owens recognizes his very tight hands speak like this, but overall not impressed by this guy. Yeah. Interesting comment section here. Oh yeah, shout out to this guy, these timestamps, for making timestamps of the interview. I was looking at this earlier. That's why I knew that they would be talking about AI eventually, because I read this. I was like, oh, shout out to this guy. But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the interview overall? How do you guys think the interviewer did? You guys think she did a good job in pressing him on certain things? Do you guys think she did a bad job overall? I think it was kind of 50-50 for me. She definitely asked him some softball-ass questions, but there are other times where she was actually kind of pressing him a little hard. I think for an interview that I've seen, I think she actually pressed him harder than most of the interviewers I've seen. Most of the interviewers I've seen interviewing Neal, they were kissing his ass the whole time. And I was like, God damn, is this an interview, or are you a member of his fan club or something? You think she did pretty good? She could have done better. She did good. She did as good as good gets. Yeah. And remember, I know there's gonna be people who are gonna say that she should have done this and that, which is true. I agree. But remember that this isn't just two people sitting down and talking. You're talking to the CEO of YouTube. I'm sure there were guidelines on, hey, you can't talk about this, or you can't use this specific terminology. You know what I mean? You want to see you grow his ass? Yeah, I mean, I would definitely not let him get away with some of his answers. But again, people think that if you swear at the CEO and call him a bitch or whatever, that it's gonna do something. That's not gonna do anything at all. That's kind of like a childish mentality, right? You have to press him hard, but obviously you have to do it in a way where you're not just insulting him over and over again. You know what I mean? Because obviously, why the hell would that make? How would that make him want to be honest with you? You know what I mean? I would press him pretty hard, but I would do it in a way where he doesn't feel like I'm attacking him. You know what I mean? I would just kind of interrupt him sometimes and just say like, hey, I feel like that's kind of like a cop-out answer because blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But that's just me. But you hit him with basic reasoning questions. Exactly. That's basically what I would do. I would challenge him on some of his answers, and I wouldn't let him, basically try to weave his way out of it. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the interview. I'm assuming that that's all you guys came here for. So we'll call it a day there. Thank you to everybody who donated. Appreciate all the donations. Shout out to 19 Kilometers and Bite Deity for the $5 and $2 respectively. Shout out to my man Blue, the MVP, with 5 gifted on YouTube, 1 gifted on Twitch. Make sure you guys subscribe, notifications on, so you guys know when the next video will be. New video will be up tomorrow about iPhone age verification at 10:40 a.m. PST. And yeah, make sure you guys join our Discord as well. Link will be in the description. And I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you. I ain't the sharpest tool. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I will see you guys around. Thank you, Amber. Bye, guys.